Hey, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio. I'm back in the small bedroom studio for now, but I am still working on the big studio. Make sure to check back for more videos on the studio progress. In this video, I've got another crazy setup for you. In a small bedroom like this, sometimes you have to get creative. And I wanted to track a pretty loud sounding rock song in this bedroom studio. And I wanted to record it to analog tape with the Tascam MSR-16 half-inch 16-track tape machine. And I also needed a console, so I have the Mackie 24/8 8-bus recording console. And I wanted to do this with as much analog gear as possible, so my guitar rig and bass rig is all analog. In fact, the only thing that I'm using that's not analog is some sampled drums, which I'm actually going to play live to tape with a Roland electronic drum kit, including a TD9 module. So I'm going to play the drum tracks on the Roland kit, triggering samples in the computer, and then I'm going to record the samples onto the tape like a live drum performance. So it's pretty close to if I set up my acoustic drum kit in here and mic'd it up, but without all the volume. So it's pretty interesting the way that I had to do this, so that I could get all analog guitar tones and not have a loud amp in the room. I used a DSM and Humboldt simplifier, which is an analog amp modeler, and then I used a JHS modded electroharmonic soul food in front of that. And I'm playing an 80s Harmony Flying V copy, which is all stock except for the tuning machines. To track the guitars, I just connected the XLR outputs left and right from the simplifier analog amp modeler to channels 1 and 2 on the Mackie. Then I assigned those two channels to two buses, buses 7 and 8. So I panned to channel 1 to the left, channel 2 to the right, so that they would go to the two separate buses, and then those two buses go straight to track 7 and 8 on the MSR-16. I'm going to use this other rig over here with a separate Presonus Studio 24C audio interface to capture the output of the console while I'm tracking things to the tape machine. For the drum sounds, I used the Roland drum kit with the TD9 module, and I have the MIDI output on the drum module connected to MIDI in on my old Echo AudioFire 8 interface. So that's being used to trigger Steven Slate drums inside the DAW. Setting up the drum tracks to go from the Steven Slate samples to the tape machine was kind of difficult because inside the plugin you have to assign each of the different drums, and some of them have multiple mics, and then you assign each of those tracks in the DAW to a separate output on the audio interface. So that's the most complicated part of this setup. Of course it would be the most complicated part of the setup, it's the digital side. Have each one of those drum tracks in the DAW assigned to a separate output on the audio interface. Then those outputs go into line inputs on the console, where I can assign them to different buses that are connected to different track inputs on the tape machine. And since I was using the bus routing here, I was able to use 17 through 22 to send my drum tracks to the tape machine by assigning these to pairs of buses and then panning things. So those are being sent out of these first 6 buses. But when they come back from the tape machine, they're actually on tracks 1 through 6, and so those returns are actually over here in the mix B section. So I have my kick, snare, toms, and then overheads and room mic combination here. This is so I can hear it when I'm playing the tape back and recording. The Mackie 8-bus is an inline console, so these main faders are used to send to tape, and then these mix B channels are your tape returns, so you can create a tape monitor mix. without disturbing the settings on your main channel. For the bass track, I used what I think is a Tascam EB22. It's a really cool vintage Japanese bass, and it sounded really good for this part. For the bass guitar, I used a Countryman DI plugged into a mic channel of the Mackie, and then I used some of the Mackie's EQ to sculpt that bass track, and then I assigned the bass to bus 8. It's okay that it has pizza on it because I'm not using it today. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check back on the channel for more of my analog shenanigans with a little bit of digital thrown in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Twin Creek Audio YouTube channel if you have not done so already. And I hope each and every one of you out there is an excellent day, night, evening, weekend, weekday, hour, minute, second, nanosecond, whatever it is you're having. Have a good one. Thanks so much for watching.